Okay, it's just going to be a very quick one. I was bringing up the history of Tuface, how as a teenager he believed in himself, to sing, which he loves to do, not from a privileged background, just a humble parents who were trying their best to give their children the best they could. Tuface grew up in that area called Festac on Lagos mainland in Lagos State. At that time, that Festac was, we say, the mini VI at that time. We had white people living there, we had middle class, high class people living in Festac and all of that. So in those days, Festac people were not ambelong kind of people, and all of that. So he tried to make something out of his life, which every guy who wants to make a name for himself or herself will always do. While others decided to go to school, Tuface was not really about going to school. He chose to be, thank you for joining Nissa's Pride. Hello. He chose to go into music. And yes, he did go into music. But then he walked into a sweet-faced lady called Annie at that time. And they started dating to the point that, Annie was just about the 15-year-old teenager who fell in love with the beautiful, sweet-faced Tuface. Tuface, when he was younger, was a very cute guy and all of that. So they both fell head over heels in love with each other. And when they did, following each other up and down, Tuface didn't have anything at that point. They even said it was, in fact, Annie that would make sure that, when she collect pocket money, she will go give Adam. Those kind of things. So all those things went on and on and on. But before we knew it, we heard Tuface impregnated another woman, not Annie's girlfriend. Wow. So that's how he impregnated Sumbo. Now when he did, according to sources, Tuface's mother, who is a typical African woman, decided to say, okay, no problem. And they were both living together as a couple at that time. So Sumbo was living in Tuface's house. And in the midst of that again, Tuface was still dating Annie, though they had issues, they came back together. And agbako, who in quotes was married with a child at that time in Abuja, according to reports reportedly. But she fell in love with Tuface and they started, I don't know if she had issues with her marriage at that time. Maybe she was single again or divorced or something, but according to reports, she had a husband and a child. Then before we stretch neck, talk and finish, but I was also in a relationship with Tuface. Pero got pregnant. So Pero on this side, Annie on this side, and Sumbo on this side. Sumbo, who was a living lover at that time. But before we could say Jack Robinson, Pero had another child, and Sumbo also had another child for Tuface. So Annie will be the main African queen. Yeah, she featured in African Queen, Tuface's stellar production at that time. The main girlfriend no get belle. Side chick right get belle. Side chick left get belle. They didn't just get belle, they had children, they had babies, And so life went on. People were like, okay, it's fine. Let them keep going. Tuface made beautiful music. He was signed on by Kenny's Music. He was making money. In fact, out of his group of plantation boys at that time, it was Tuface that was the Baba or the Baba. And one thing about him is an extremely humble guy. He doesn't do jagidi jagon at all. You can't hear Tuface dissing another singer or musician or having issues with anybody. He's a lane minder. But you see this thing, his only life problem where he gets na the gbola, where they in between his legs. That is the only problem. And as much as we are saying it is the only problem, it's a major problem. Before we knew it, Sumbo decided to take a walk. According to an interview she granted many years later, that she just saw that he wasn't going to work. He wasn't ready to marry her. So she took a walk. Madam Pero was still holding on at that point in time. Annie too was there. The main girlfriend will never get belle, and 2 side chicks don't get belle. Now people come the wonder how will Tuface do his life at that time. So it was a subject of ridicule. I remember all the Bengadinka, the first at that time, are you a comedian, basket mouse? If you want, before they throw any joke like this, now Tuface matter, they go say, Tuface is the father of nation. And years later, Tuface confessed that time wasn't funny for him, that he was being dragged and everything. So it just shows that life is what it is. Life will always happen, but how much of self-control do we have? Now, if you're going through pain for anything, there are 2 types of pain if we divide it broadly. The first one is pain of consequences, and the second one is pain of discipline. Now, if you do not discipline yourself, for example, you plan to build a house, and you know that for you to build the house by December, you need to save XYZ. You need to do away with giving money to certain people, or you need to reduce the money you're giving to certain people while your project is still on. Right? You can even deprive yourself of things you love. That is pain of consequences. Now, that's pain of discipline. Now, pain of consequences is, we say, if you decide to be doing up and down, let me not mention up and down, because you think you need money. You did the you go carry jumbo. That's pain of consequences, because you don't actually have to do that thing. Yeah. And with whatever thing that thing is, came with a basket and bucket of regrets. Now, looking at it, Tuface wasn't repentant. Despite being married to Annie, they went to do a fantastic marriage in Dubai that year. That was when Annie said yes to Tuface, and they were living happily ever after in Coast. But Tuface never really left his, philandering and everything. I remember, I think COVID year of 2021, Annie just came out of the blues shouting with a voice note saying that Tuface left her and has gone to America to go and meet Pero. Pero should leave her husband alone. Annie, Mama Yahweh, why are you shouting Pero up and down? And Pero will not come out to talk. She's not somebody that, and it will be Mometa. In fact, Pero was about a few months pregnant of her 3rd child to Tuface when Tuface proposed and married Annie. So on the day of Tuface's wedding to Annie, Pero was pregnant with her 3rd child for Tuface. So you can imagine he's been a smooth operator all along, And yes, he left Kenny's music a long time ago, was doing his own music. But honestly, since he got himself in all this rubbish and ingredients, his fame has gone down. Before we knew it, they have issues, Annie, they resolve, my love and everything. The family of your husband don't like her, all those kind of stories. Before we now found out that the center is no longer holding. Well, a few months ago, Tuface came out and posted, say, do again, he don't finish, marriage don't end. People were like, is that how to announce a marriage? He struggled. But apparently they alleged that it was Natasha telling him to do the announcement to the world. And that henceforth, every communication put across to Tuface's line, Natasha the answer him. Natasha the answer him. So it got really, really bad. And yesterday, when we saw the podcast by Du, where he said it's not possible for a man to have one woman, that a man can love, respect, adore, keep, protect a particular woman, but still, biologically speaking, the man must still do outside. And I'm thinking to be like, okay, Mr. Man, even if that's your ideology, because that's who you've always been. In fact, you said this kind of thing in front of Annie in that there is a real housewife of whatever, that popular show. Right in Annie's front, you said it, that one woman cannot satisfy a man. And he was shocked, embarrassed, but couldn't say anything. That's how much of self-worth that you guys will have stripped her. So as things are going on right now, today he came out apologizing, saying he's sorry. He's not sorry to his family, his friends, his fans, his wife Natasha. That's what he call her. His wife Natasha, for coming out to Sosokuso that one woman cannot satisfy a man. Please check the main video in a previous post that we did. Tuface looks very unsettled, very unsure of himself, frightened that he will be cancelled. I don't know. Yeah, Tuface there were like, yes, remember his mother came out a few months ago to shout that Nigerians help her, oh, that she can't find her son. Oh, now you know where your son is, but your son is inside something again, reportedly, allegedly. That is not the Tuface. That Tuface has come out to do a video telling Tuface that Tuface, reflect, oh, your matter now, Egungun, be careful, na express you dey go. w0rr1 also came out to make a post about the fact that Tuface needs help. Remember, his mama don't come out too a month ago to say, make Nigerians help him. But until Tuface is ready to help himself, some people allege, according to Tuface's mother, that color wa ni orun Tuface. Say the bead Natasha put for his neck and his hand, now they walk. Can it be true? Today is Tuface's daughter with Anne. She had a graduation today from primary school to secondary school. Annie was all over the place, happy, encouraging her daughter. Baba Tuface no dey there. Later they will start saying, a woman is teaching the child what to do. When you as a father, you didn't post your daughter. As at this minute, I don't know about next minute, Tuface hasn't posted his daughter to wish her happy graduation. Neither is he there physically. My people, we just said we should come and interact with us. Let's be careful, especially we men, that whenever we want to do our shino or we are not disciplined, the future is almost here. That's why you find a lot of miserable men at the end of their lives. You find lonely men. A woman can live on her own till she clocks 200 years old, do her laundry by herself, cook her meal, even if not to sit down on stool, they wash them, they rinse them for one spot. A woman can do it. She's suited to be a home keeper. Now, for a man to be doing groceries, to live alone in the house, to not have anybody to support him, men are more dependent when they are older. So what kind of future is Tuface preparing for himself? I just hope a good one. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.